Hi, my name's Dana Harris Seeger. Welcome back to my studio at Visual Philosophy. Today I want to talk about proper cleanup and being a good steward of your resources, particularly water, when it comes to cleanup for your materials. So if you are using water-based products, for instance, acrylic paint, this one I've mixed myself, then it might be tempting to just take your brush, your palette, or whatever you're using to the sink and just start cleaning it out. But for a couple of reasons, that's not a very good idea. For one, you have a lot of acrylic paint on your brush that's going to go down the sink. And if you put all this acrylic paint, I mean, this isn't a lot on this little brush, but if you have a bigger brush or you're rinsing out your palette, then all of that acrylic paint is going to go down the sink. It might harden because it does form that solid skin, that plasticky skin, and so over time you'll have this ball of plastic that's solidified in your pipes. And then also it just uses a lot of water that you don't. So my advice for cleaning your brushes is to first get off as much paint as you can. You can use a paper towel, you can use a rag, cotton rag, if you want, but in any case, wipe your brush carefully so that you're not like scrubbing it and ruining the bristles, but just wipe it, drag it along your like that, and get out most of the paint on there. You can have a cup filled with water that you put your brushes in and kind of swish them around and then do the same thing a few times. I would recommend taking them to the sink with some soap and off. But before then, you really don't need to use. And then if you are using a cup or something to put your paint in to mix it up, you can either close it up and save it. As long as it's airtight, it'll last. I mean, this one, I don't know how long I've had this one, but obviously I keep reusing it. So as long as it stays airtight, the acrylic water-based media will stay viable. If there's not any and you want to reuse the jar, just do what you did with your brush and dump it in the trash. Wipe it out with paper towel or a rag and put all of that into the trash. They don't dump it down the sink because this is a lot of paint to put down the sink. And then you can rinse it out. And if you let your acrylic palette dry, you can peel the dried paint out. So you don't even need to rinse it really. It'll just peel out in one fell swoop. If you're using something like watercolor, that might change and you might need to just wipe it out with a damp rag or sponge and then rinse it in the sink. But that uses a lot less water. If you're using oil-based inks or paints, then a similar method applies. Even if they're water-soluble oil-based inks, out in another video, the difference between those different types. Rag and get all of the excess paint or ink brush or your palette knife, and instead of going right into the water and rinsing it with soap and water, which might be tempting, you can use a little bit of either mineral spirits or like a soy solvent or even a simple green degreaser soap type of material that you can spray on your palette or on your rag and then start to loosen up some of that paint that way. And this saves a lot of wasted paper or wasted water and wasted time actually, because you're getting most of that off and it doesn't take a lot of solvents either. And then once that's all off, and you can take and do the rest of your final cleaning with soap and water in the sink. The Best way to clean your oil palettes is just with scraping. So you scrape it with like a single-edged razor blade, then wipe it with a rag and a little bit of mineral spirits, and then spray it with like a simple green or Windex, and you don't even need to put it in the sink and wash it. So those are my recommendations for being a good steward of your water resources, and also trying to help not put too many chemicals or into your pipes.